Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to the very first episode of the Play My X Station Skyrim inDepth. Just as a very quick heads up, in case you didn't read the sign, this episode is going to be kind of revealing a few spoilers. You're going to see a lot of high-level content. You're going to see some smithing. You're going to see some of the beginning game. Some of this is going to be stuff that you may not see, and some of it you definitely are going to see. But it's going to be a very high level. Anyway, to begin with, as if you're planning on investing in this game, obviously, this is the 5th installment of the Elder Scrolls series. This particular one takes place 201 years after the events of the Oblivion Crisis. And if you don't know what that is, then it's pretty much where the Daedra, who you'll probably figure out in the game, the Daedric prince, Merus Dagon, attempted to take over the Earth. However, this one has absolutely nothing to do with the Daedra. It is set and more involved with the dragons. Spoiler alert. Now the Daedra are still in this game, they're just not a big focus of the campaign. Excuse me, the story. Anyway, here we go. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. This is the beginning of the game. I did not want to show any not campaign. I keep thinking I'm playing a first-person shooter. I did not want to show any of the story, so I more or less just showed me wandering around after this little segment here. Most of what you're going to see is pretty well updated since Oblivion. A lot of your weapons from Oblivion are returning. The Imperials from Oblivion that you've helped in Cyrodiil are here in Skyrim as well. Just as real quick information. The date at which the game actually starts is the 17th of Steedfall, 4th era 201. It's kind of confusing, but that means that when the game starts, it's taking place 201 years after the Oblivion Crisis, which means the Third Era ended when the Oblivion Crisis ended. I don't know why they did that. I think it's mainly just because of Tyra Septim dying. And as with most Elder Scrolls games, you start off as a prisoner, although this time you're a prisoner of war. Here in the carriage with me is Roloff, one of the higher up on the Stormcloaks, and Jarl Ulfric. He's the leader of the rebellion. And I didn't get a chance to see General Tullius, but he's the leader of the Imperials. You can meet him later in the game. Now, immediately after the beginning of the game more or less sets you up for what faction you're going to be joining. I mean, it does and it doesn't, because you can choose to go with the Imperials at the beginning and then switch right over to the Stormcloaks after the events of Helgen, or you could stay with them. Just for example. As a quickie, also, the dragons come back mainly because of a fluke on the behalf of the Ancient Lords. It's not really their fault, it's more of the Elder Scrolls' fault. But you find out about that later in the game. Yes, this is major spoiler alert, also. We plan on doing an entire series. We're probably not going to go over every specific quest, because that would take us years to finish. I'm not going to go over every specific weapon, just weapons you're probably going to run into, more than likely, if you get drug into quests and stuff, such as the Ebony Mail, Wabbajack, Dragonbane, because you're going to see Dragonbane either way, Dawnbreaker, the Shield of Solitude, the Rueful Axe, the Mask of Gladius Final, stuff like that. Most of it's Daedric. And we're probably also going to cover all the factions in Skyrim as well. Probably within the next month or two, we're probably going to get around to doing maybe the Dark Brotherhood or the Thieves Guild. I don't know. This is some of the high level content I was talking about, but you have to be level 30 to get some of this stuff. You also have to finish a good part of the story to get some of the stuff I use in this particular clip. I will not tell you how you get it, because if you're planning on buying the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, it'd be a complete and total waste. Yeah, I'd be giving away a big part of the story, which it's not like I haven't already done that. But just to be clarifying. Now, in comparison to Morrowind and Oblivion, Magic to Melee is a lot more balanced. Because if you played both of those, you notice that in Morrowind, you were better off just not even using magic. I mean, magic was completely underpowered, and it was more or less useless. You were better off just using melee weapons. Melee, excuse me. And in Oblivion, you pretty much became overpowered when you started using magic. Thankfully, however, the class system that was present in Oblivion has not returned. It's a new system, a new perk tree system. It's not anything like Oblivion or Fallout. It's brand new, and it runs brand new since they introduced this new creation engine, which is very nice. The way it works is every skill you have to level up with practice instead of just leveling up every time you level up. So if you want to get your sneak up, you actually have to sneak. Or if you want to get your smithing up, you actually have to smith, or you have to go out and read a book, or go help somebody. And you also don't get to pick what perk you unlock, you have to unlock them in an order. Currently the level cap is at 81, and to get to level 81, you have to max out every stat in the game, which is very difficult. I had a level 81 character, and it was not legit. I'm not going to tell you how I got it, although probably if you look on the internet you can figure it out. Also, you'll notice that as we move on through the series, you're going to see a lot of reused clips. Like this particular clip is going to be reused for another episode, and I'm pretty sure if you can tell what the weapons are, you'll figure it out. The system for archery, the system for magic, and the system for melee have all been redone very considerably. Most of your weapons are one-handed or two-handed, or they fall into this system of archery. There is no particular set for staves, so you won't really get any point out of them unless you just really don't like to use magic, or you don't have a high magicka. On the flip side of this, if you have a decent amount of magic, you can use abilities that are magic, but at the same time are melee, which is just like these weapons I'm holding. You'll be able to get a lot of higher level content the more you play. As you start to level up, you start seeing more, and as you eventually start to get through the story, you start running into more and more of these guys. They are very difficult to fight at higher levels, so be very careful. You'll notice that as a lot of your mechanics, such as crafting, have been improved greatly, you can now actually make the weapon rather than give it to a smith like you've had to in Oblivion. Whenever you collected the ores, you had to give them to someone to smith for you. Now you just actually smith them yourself. Also, be aware that there are mentors for all three sets of alchemy, crafting, and enchanting. All you have to do is go up to someone who has one of the three and ask them for some help, and they'll give you a step-by-step guide. Also note that this stuff will also help you level up. Crafting tends to be a better thing for you to do. It's easy to level up that way also. I personally enjoy crafting because it gives me an excuse to go out and explore dungeons I've already been in, and gives me an excuse to go back out and do stuff again. Anyway, the lore like I said, this is set 200 years after the Oblivion Crisis. Dragons come back. I'll let you figure out the rest when you get in there. This has been episode 1 for Skyrim inDepth from Play My Xstation 360. This was PC Thomas, by the way. Thank you, and we hope to have the second episode up very soon. Alright, goodbye.